Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Premier League preview brought to you by BetMate, the fantasy football app. I'll get into that a little bit later on. Joining me, as always, well, not as always, actually, a rare occasion nowadays, is Mr. David Pritt. How are we doing?
Very good, thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm good. Did you have a good New Year?
Yeah, messy one, but good.
Messy one? Well, was you drinking and all that? Was you? We won't get into all that anyway, because we need to talk about the big game, Bournemouth, the Cherries.
Can you get even bigger than that?
I think it is the... Did you see they had 9,000 fans, I think, for the recent game they had? Which was a recent home game, which is, you know, it's quite startling, that, isn't it, for a Premier League team? But there's going to be a lot more at Old Trafford for this game. Manchester United in a good bit of form. The recent win over Wolves, a tricky one, coming off the back of the win over Nottingham Forest. So post-World Cup, we're doing well. We're doing well before the World Cup as well. A big part of that has been the fact that Erik ten Hag has been able to shuffle his pack, defensively especially, and still make it work. We saw Luke Shaw come in like a prime Gary Pallister against Wolves, didn't we?
I was quite worried when Luke Shaw is a bit hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
He can be good, but can be...
Well, we did a video a few years ago, didn't we, where we said the jury was out and people ram it down our throats now and again.
I still think the jury's out.
Pretty much everyone has said that since that video. So I know now he's having a good season, so I don't know why there's a bit of controversy there, but he's played very well at centre-back, hasn't he?
Yeah, and once again, you look at him and think he's not got the structure, he's not that tall really to be centre-back, but he's doing what Martinez does, just defending and doing well. I thought he was excellent.
I thought he was very good on the ball as well,
yeah.
Under pressure, on the ball. Erik ten Hag obviously likes his defenders to play out from the back. Luke Shaw looked comfortable. He didn't look like, even though when he was under pressure, he didn't get rattled. He didn't look like it was bothering him. He just was pretty calm. He got forward as well, even though he was a centre-back, he was pushing forward with the ball. It was just, it was a very, very good performance. You don't want to get too carried away, though, do you? Because he is a left back, and we'll get into our predicted 11s soon. But eventually expect him to go back to his left back position. I think he's doing a good job though of standing in for Lisandro Martinez, and that's not an easy task, is it?
No.
Because Lisandro Martinez has been a bit of a revelation since he's come to United.
Yeah, he's been good, but you got to remember he's just won the World Cup and it's been New Year. I'm sure he's still good.
Are you insinuating that he might have been celebrating?
He might have a headache.
He might do. He's been back a little while though, hasn't he? There was maybe he's going to be in for the Wolves game. He obviously wasn't. So this might be a game that we're seeing back. But as I said earlier, we'll get into our predicted 11s shortly. When it comes to defensively, though, one thing we just have to acknowledge and talk about is the fact that having Rafael Varane fit and back in that team helps so much.
He's so good, isn't it, to see him?
Yeah.
He's just a Rolls-Royce type of player, and I mean, we've got now a couple of them who've been brought in and didn't look like they were, like maybe the end of their career, and didn't look as good as they used to, but they've come into form now and they're just looking great, these type players.
When we got Varane, I was shocked, because I think he was 28, when we signed him, so coming into his peak, won all those Champions Leagues, 4 Champions Leagues, something silly. Do you know what I mean? Do you reckon Casemiro looks at him and goes, 4 Champions Leagues? Pathetic. So you knew he was good, but I was surprised at just how good he is. The only issue last season was injuries. This season, managed to stay fit. And also, at the end of the World Cup final, you saw him in extra time, I think it was, pretty much collapsing with exhaustion.
Yeah.
And he still managed to get himself involved a couple of weeks later.
I think it's brilliant. And he is showing his qualities now. And you'd mentioned as well, Casemiro, I think he's just shown his as well.
Because he was in defence, wasn't he, the other week? And he's done well. They've
been
Burnley game.
They've been brilliant this season.
No, they have. Defensively looking a lot more solid after some ropey moments earlier on in the season. At the other end of the pitch, a player who is absolutely on fire is Mr. Marcus Rashford, within Shaw's finest. Let's not pretend. We've always praised him on this channel, you especially. We've always liked him. He did have a bad season last season. There's no point sugarcoating it. But this season, he's been phenomenal. Dealt really well with the fact that he'd been dropped for being late for a meeting.
Yeah, I thought that was
Didn't spit his dummy out, which I'd expect a player to respond well, and he did, and got his goal against Wolves.
Yeah, his interview after it explained, because he didn't even have to explain it, did he, really?
No.
He brought it up. Yeah, I thought he handled it brilliantly, but that's the way now. If you're late for something, he knows.
We knew that, though, didn't we, in pre-season?
Yeah. Well, Garnacho was didn't he miss a load of games because of it?
Yeah,
but
he was late twice, I think.
Well, it shows you the way the manager's running the team at the moment now, and I think it's great the fact that Marcus came out and actually said that, and then even comes on. There's no animosity. It's like, right, you've had your punishment. Come on, and he scores the winner. And it's great.
I think if you say that is a rule for everyone, if you're late, no matter what the circumstances, you know, these are the rules that are brought in place, you're going to get drops, then people are less likely to kick off or moan about it because, okay, that's the rule. It's if you sort of go, well, I'm going to let you off this time because it's you, because it's Marcus Rashford.
Well, in fact,
when other players might go, hang on a minute.
In fact, he did it with Rashford, probably the player who's most on form at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, coming off the World Cup, for me, he was on form there as well. So the fact that he's done it with him shows that he'll do it for anyone.
Yeah, and we know from the past how he's dealt with Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the biggest names in football. Dealt with him when he had 2, dropped him when he refused to come on off the subs bench against Spurs. He was dropped for the next game. So he's not afraid to make big decisions.
Does that mean Rashford's got a better mentality than Cristiano Ronaldo?
That's a debate that someone else can have another time. I certainly think Rashford's been far more effective at Manchester United, and I'm glad we've got Marcus Rashford. And I think for the greater good, I can understand why it was time for Ronnie to move on, even though he more or less burnt the village down as he left, didn't he? We'll get into our predicted 11s. You mentioned there Marcus Rashford. We've mentioned, of course, as well the defensive situation. Dave, let's have a look at your team, and you can talk me through it. So, David De Gea in goal, no surprises there. You've stuck with Luke Shaw at the left-hand side of the centre-back pairing.
Yeah.
So you don't think Martinez is going to be back in, obviously?
Maybe. I predict him to be on the bench, but I don't think he'll mess around too much with the team. It's been Bournemouth. I think, like you said, Luke Shaw did well. At the moment, I mean, they're not scoring many goals really, Bournemouth. So, I mean, with Varane next to him, I think that back four should do all right. I'm a bit. With Malacia, a bit worried about him, but it is what it is.
I feel like with Malacia, he's got a lot of energy, and and I don't like just using the physical attributes of players, but you know, he's got energy, he gives you the effort. It's just his ceiling probably isn't as high as say Luke Shaw's is, but he's a sort of reliable.
Like a game like this, I think he'll be good for it, but. When we get to the tougher games in a few weeks, where I'll be a bit worried.
Yeah, I understand that. So we've all, you know, the changes you've made or the changes you expect, or actually, you know, a lot of them are the same. To be fair, Wan-Bissaka keeps his place. Yeah. What have you made of him in the last few games?
Yeah, he's done all right. I mean, I think once again, I'm always critical of fullbacks. I don't know why, but
are you fullbackist?
Maybe.
Hey, that's the thing. Yeah, all fullbacks matter. Yeah. Right, go on.
But yeah, he's been great recently, so he keeps his place for me.
I've been impressed with Wan-Bissaka. It's good because we're hearing rumours that he wasn't happy, wasn't in a great place mentally, but I don't know how true those rumours are, but it's just a couple of people have suggested that. Whatever is going on for Wan-Bissaka, whether he just wasn't fancied by Erik ten Hag, whether there was something more serious, he's back in the team and he's doing really well, and long may it continue. The midfield three, you know, writes itself.
It's difficult for me, this, thinking of this game. That's what I'd go for. I mean, Casemiro's just been excellent. Yeah. Like the Forest game, he was great. Fernandes is Fernandes. Eriksen's Eriksen. But in this game, because we've got so many games coming up, I was wondering, will he do the Fred McTominay? Will he change it up a bit? But I'm hoping he sticks with this.
Up front, you've gone Marcus on the left, you've gone with Garnacho on the right, and Martial in the middle. No Antony, why? Why do you think Erik ten Hag is going to drop someone he paid €100 million for?
Because, to be very kind to him, he wasn't very good in the last game.
I think, though, with wingers, that's how they are. They're
I know, but these
skillful wingers have always been inconsistent.
But he was dreadful.
Okay, all right. I think a lot of my Twitter timeline probably agree with you from what I saw. I mean, no one's throwing him under a bus.
No, I'm not.
I know you're not. I know I'm making that point. Everyone has an off day, especially wingers. I think he's a class player, and I think he'll you know, whether he plays or not, he'll have some influence on the game, even whether it's from the bench or from starting. Go to my 11. Mine's slightly different. I think Martinez comes back in, so I've moved Short back over to that left back spot. I don't think Delo's fit yet, so Aaron Wan-Bissaka keeps his place. For the midfield, I've brought Fred in purely because Eriksen looked like he's a little bit goosed in the last game. He looks a bit knackered. So bringing in Fred, because the games are coming thick and fast, I think you can mix it up a little bit. For the front three, I've rested Martial. I think he's another one who looks a little bit tired. And I think what's happened with Martial is, even though he's not played a lot of football this season, sometimes that can go against you because you've not played week in, week out. And then all of a sudden he had those couple of friendlies, didn't he? He's had the Burnley game, the Wolves game, the Forest game and then the Wolves game, and I think now it's like he might just need a bit of a breather because we've got another game on Friday.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's you know he's gonna have to wait long until he's back in the team. So I just wonder with Marcus, the form he's in. I'm not a massive fan of Marcus down the middle, but it can work, and he's, you know, in the form he's in, I think he could play right down the middle or left and still cause Bournemouth problems. So I've gone with him. I've stuck with Antony. I don't think he had a great game at Molineux, but I think, you know, wingers are inconsistent, and I think I actually think it might be a good idea to play his way out of this little bit of a
it
mini
could
slump.
be.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Well,
he wasn't great
I feel the
against
same.
Forest either, but I feel like coming back from the World Cup, just keep playing him and he'll get there. You can still see.
I'm the same with Martial, though. I think the reason I picked Martial is in a game like this, if he gets a goal, it would do him the world of good, and if you just keep that consistency.
I mean, even like against Forest, I thought it was great, but he got his goal, which is a good sign in it when a striker's sort of not having the best performance, but can still get on the end of stuff and get you a goal. So yeah, I'm not too concerned there. Just looking at Bournemouth, I mean, they did a little bit of a sort of almost an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as caretaker manager-esque run, didn't they, when Gary O'Neill took over almost. They're in 15th, which, from considering where they were a few months ago, is no mean feat. Not in a great run of form, though. I think they've won one in all competitions of the last 5 games, I think it is. One player we mentioned earlier, I think, he might cause us some problems, and just because he's an ex-scout, so I was worried, is Dominic Solanke.
Yeah.
He's got 3 goals and 3 assists this season for him. Not exactly setting the world alight, but for a team in 15th, that's not too shabby.
No. If you're looking at strikers around him or teams around that, there, and you're looking comparison, I'm sure he's up there because, if you're talking about Martial or talking about Rashford, 3 goals, 3 assists, you'd be complaining. But we're trying to get top 4. They're trying to survive. In a way. And I think I rate him.
Yeah, I think he's one of them. He went there for about 18 million or 20 million? Around that price tag, people were sort of questioning it, but if you can help them stay in the Premier League, then it'll be well worth it. Now, moving on to BetMate and our BetMate teams. Now, if you don't know what BetMate is a fantasy football app, and it allows you to play in part of these paid games, or you can play against your mates or play against other members of the app as well. Now, for these previews and for the BetMate sort of sponsorship we've got, if you use the code Paddock10, there's a link in the description, and you join a paid pot, you can get a £10 free bet. So you get £10 free when you join a paid pot. There's a £5 game to enter using the code Paddock10, and then you can enter the fantasy football app and then play against your mates or play against the BetMate community and shows what you're about. Now, we've all been doing it. Joe Smith won a couple of £100 not long ago, which he keeps going on about. And I was a little bit gutted because it's 7 aside, so you can pick 6 players from one team, 1 player from the other, then have your bench. So there's a maximum of 6 players from Manchester United if you are going to pick United players, which I have done. Go to my team now, because I'm a little bit gutted the weekend, because if I'd just made a couple of tweaks, I would have been in the money. But I think I had a pretty strong team, and I was just outside the sort of the paid bit. But yeah, if you have a look there, I've gone with Marcus Rashford as my captain because of the reasons we spoke about. Bruno Fernandes as vice captain because he's been getting the goals. Sorry, not just getting the goals. He assisted Marcus the other day, and he's always capable of that. I've stuck with Antony because, like I said, I think he'll come good. I've gone with Shaw and Varane. I was tempted to put Martinez in, but I just think I'm pretty positive Shaw and Varane will both start for Manchester United, so I went with them. We'll have a look at your team as well, Dave. You've done a team here as well. We can have a look at that. You've gone Casemiro as your captain. Now, with this, it's worth mentioning, it's not as daft as that may seem. You go, why do you make a midfield captain? You get points for interceptions and for tackles as well, and they're powered by Opta stats, these, so they're on the ball. So you can get points for someone like Casemiro sticking his foot in. He's going to get you a few points in it. And picking passes as well.
It's just been unreal recently, and for me, he's there to pick points up in stuff like this.
Pick points up for BetMate and pick points up for Manchester United as well. He's been doing a lot on it. As for Bournemouth, you've gone out Solanke. Do you think he's going to get in the goals, or do you think put that in just in case?
If anyone
soften the blow.
Exactly. If anyone is, it's going to be him.
Yeah, that's a good point. That sometimes you do that, don't you? You think, okay, if I'm going to have to put in a rival player, then put someone in who could cause some problems, and Dominic Solanke, for reasons we've already mentioned, could do. So use a code Paddock10. There's a link in the description there, and you like Joe Smith, who's been walking around with his chest out, you can win yourself some money. With all that being said, big thanks to BetMate as well for sponsoring this preview. Give us your score prediction.
I'm going to go 3-0 this one.
To Bournemouth?
Or 3-1 if Solanke needs a goal, but I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0, okay. 3-0 to Manchester United. Who's going to score?
Rashford twice.
Wow. I'll say wow because that's not a mad prediction.
And let's give Bruno one.
Bruno, right. So you're going 3-0 to Manchester United, and you're going Marcus Rashford 2 goals, and Bruno Fernandes with the other one. See, I'm worried. I don't like it when we're both confident. I'm going to go 1-0 to United, right? I'll go 1-0, and I'll go... I'm trying to just be different than you. I'll go with a Raphael Varane header
from a corner.
From a corner. We'll score from a corner. It'll be, it'll be amazing. Yeah, I'm going to go for a win. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know about your predictions, your predicted 11s, who you think's going to play, what you think the score's going to be. What I hear from you guys as well. And don't forget as well to check out the BetMate app. There's a link in the description for that using the code Paddock10. David Pritt, where can people find you?
Online.
Right, on the internet. There you go. Yeah, if you just search David Pritt, he comes up. Yeah, thanks, David. You know where to find him. You know where to find me as well, Jay Motti, all over socials. Don't forget as well, we'll have the watch along for this game. I think Joe Smith's going to be back for that one as well. So make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. That's been David Pritt. I've been Jay Motti. This has been the Bournemouth preview. Thanks for watching.